We're going to move into our 6:30 meeting of our council meeting, and I'm going to ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Give me just a minute to transition. All right, Mr. Chambers?
Here.
Dr. Lee?
Here.
Mr. Reynolds?
Here.
Ms. Shinholster?
Here.
Ms. Walden?
Here.
All right, we do have a quorum present. If you will, please stand with me for the prayer and pledge. Gracious God, we look to the hills this evening from which all our help cometh. We thank you for this body, God. We thank you for bringing us together to be able to conduct the business of this city. We thank you for our minds being on one accord, that as we think about what it is to move and to transition this city forward, that we all have open minds to make sure that we're doing whatever it is that it takes to make a better community and a better city. Father, I thank you on tonight that as we enter into this Thanksgiving season, that we give thanks in all things that we do. We give thanks for all that we serve. We give thanks for all that are in our presence tonight. Father, I thank you right now because I know that if it had not been for you, we wouldn't have made it down to another November year. And we thank you because of your presence, your grace, and your love and your mercy. We stand here tonight. So as we give thanks for that, Father, we thank you that you'll continue to look upon us. You'll continue to let us make the right decisions and do the right thing. It is in your Son, Jesus' name, that we do pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So at this time, we do not have any awards or presentations. You all have received a copy of the minutes of the November 8th, 2022 council meeting. Are there any corrections? No. Do I hear a motion to adopt the November 8th, 2022 council meeting minutes as official?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? I will ask the clerk to please call the roll. Can y'all hear me?
Mr. Chambers?
Aye.
Dr. Lee?
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds?
Aye.
Ms. Shinholster?
Aye.
Ms. Walden?
Aye.
Minutes are adopted as official. We have one item under old business, and it is the second reading and the adoption of ordinance setting the millage rate for the 2022 property taxes. I will ask the clerk to please read the ordinance O-2211-11 by caption as the second reading of the ordinance to set the millage rate for the 2022 tax year.
An ordinance to levy and assess taxes for the support of the mayor and aldermen of the city of Milledgeville for the 2022 tax year and to provide for the collection of same.
Mr. Clerk, has this adoption of the ordinance been properly advertised?
Yes, ma'am, it has been.
You all have heard the ordinance. Is there a motion to adopt?
So moved. Second.
You have heard the second reading of this ordinance. Are there any questions or discussion? I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Mr. Chambers?
Aye.
Dr. Lee?
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds?
Aye.
Ms. Shinholster?
Aye.
Ms. Walden?
Aye.
And the ordinance adopted as official. The 2022 tax bill should go out on or around November 30th with a due date of January the 23rd. We move to new business, and I will ask the clerk to please read ordinance O-2211-15 as the first reading of an ordinance to increase the salary of certified public safety positions.
ordinance to amend the 2022-2023 fiscal year annual operating budget to increase public safety certified positions.
And this is the first reading of this ordinance, and it is scheduled to come back before council at the next meeting for discussion and consideration. Is this, Mr. Clerk, is this, okay.
I'm sorry.
No, I was about to ask a question, but, I'll ask the clerk to read resolution R-2211-34 by caption.
A resolution to authorize and endorse the approval of the Economic Development Revolving Loan Fund low-interest loan as awarded by the Georgia Department of Community Affairs to 111 North Wayne Street LLC, located at 111 North Wayne Street, in the amount of $235,000 to demolish a non-historic section of that building and to reconstruct an outdoor dining corridor that connects to a restaurant and rental space.
You have heard the resolution. Is there a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Okay, I will ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Mr. Chambers,
Aye.
Dr. Lee,
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds,
Aye.
Ms. Shinholster,
Aye.
Ms. Walden.
Aye.
And the resolution is adopted as official. I need to go back for a second. Mr. Clerk, on O-2211-15, on the first reading of an ordinance to increase its salary, you had given me a side note. You gave me a side note on that, about a discussion?
There was no.
There
There
was
was none.
Make sure I'm doing this right. All right, the resolution is adopted as official. I'll ask the clerk to please read resolution R-2211-35. Did we just do?
To authorize an agreement with Allen Smith Consulting to help identify a feasible project and target area for a 2023 Georgia Department of Community Affairs Community Development Block Grant, to complete the application process on behalf of the City of Milledgeville, and to administer the grant if awarded to the City of Milledgeville.
You have heard the resolution. Is there a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
When is this, okay. 2023.
I was a little bit lost on that. I guess that's why I went back, because I was a little bit, but anyway, okay. I will ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Mayor, let me just mention, we have actually already met with Deborah Smith initially, and identified a potential area for this application. Once this agreement is approved, then that work will start in earnest in terms of surveying the property owners and that kind of thing to make sure they meet the requirements of CDBG. So,
What area?
ma'am,
What area?
Milledgeville Estates, which used to be Finnegan Branch, where the water system is hemorrhaging. So
Where is that?
it's off of Lewis Court.
Finnegan, out on the south. It's behind the old Freeman building.
Mhm.
Behind what?
Behind the Freeman building.
Is that the
Behind
Freeman?
the
No,
large
that would be the area. That would be the area
They're all
west
forensic.
of the Lawrence building.
Well, if you
Oh,
go
I know
behind
exactly where it
forensic
is. I'm trying
building,
to help them to understand where it is. I know exactly where it is.
It's a mobile
What's
home
that?
park that was originally, I think,
I
called
swear-
Finnegan's Branch when it was initially developed.
Is that a single owner or those individual owners?
It is single owner.
That's what I
Well,
thought.
well, it's single owner, but with, according to Deborah, the income of the tenants will be utilized to determine the CDBG.
I understand that, but I mean, you know, you like, when you apply for CDBG, you like to be able to know that you're gonna have an impact, and usually they try to
Well,
do an
we would be
impact.
having an impact
for-
here because we, that water system is technically privately owned. And we cannot get the property owners to repair it. So one of the pieces of this would be us taking over that system, so that we would stop losing thousands of gallons of water a day in that property.
I just, you know, just knowing CDBG operations, I just don't see how that's going to stack up when you know, when they start rating projects.
And I agree, and we actually have had difficulty locating an area for CDBG grant applications. We looked at trying to do some sewer and stormwater together in the Leo Court Reef Circle area. Deborah did not feel that area would qualify, especially once increases in Social Security went into effect for those property owners. We also looked at an area off of Grimes Avenue for potential sewer, new sewer lines, and that's one that's still being looked at some, but both Deborah and the engineers with Turnip Seed felt like Milledgeville Estates was a very promising location.
Is the owner going to transfer those water lines to the city prior to that?
They will
Because it
transfer
won't even
those to the
qualify.
city,
Yeah.
and once that is done, we will not have to have easements in order to be able to do that work. But we have, the mayor will tell you, we get a call from one particular individual out there quite often, with what's going on, with water, and, it's, we feel like there's some merit there. But, you know, if there are other areas that anybody here wishes us to look at, we will certainly do that. But just understand that, CDBG they've gotten very narrow.
They've gotten very competitive. That's why I'm thinking in terms of that. And then I know that everything that you're stating is just water or sewer, but you know, if you want to have an impact, it needs to be a multi-dimensional.
I agree, but
project.
we do not have any documentation on anything stormwater related that would be available for CDBG purposes.
Well, what about homeowner and home rehabilitation as well?
That's certainly a possibility. We have not looked into that piece, and
Is Deborah
We-
the one that used to be with Precision Planning?
she's always been with Alan Smith since I've been dealing with
That was
CDBG, so
Precision.
I don't know for sure.
Yeah, that was Precision Planning at one time.
But we can certainly, I mean, we can look at that and see.
I know, because when you said something about CDBG, I said, well, I told Dr. B, don't you have some houses over in your area that need some, that are, the people living in that own the homes are low and moderate income people. And there's some need for some housing rehabilitation over in there, as well as that little area right there before you get to the hospital on the right-hand side, which is still in her district. Those are homeowners, a lot of those are homeowners over in there, and those houses are, we talking about old Milledgeville, those houses have been over there for a while. And I'm just thinking about making an impact on things.
But
like
we can look at that potential. I mean, nothing has been
What area was that?
done with,
Mm.
I mean,
What area did you say?
this helps, this gives us your permission to work with
With
Allen
them,
Smith Consulting to identify
They're
the
good.
area, so.
They're good, but I just think that when we present something to DCA as a CDBG project, if we want to be competitive with the rest of the state, we need to have a multi-dimensional project rather than just one thing.
How many homes are out there in this area?
38 lots. And some of them do not have homes on them at this point in time, but there are, I think it's 38 lots.
How do they have any water pressure?
Hmm?
How do they have any water pressure?
It's pretty
They're
difficult.
losing that much
They
water.
don't have water pressure, or they have poor water
They have
lines
they
out
have
there?
poor water lines, which
They have-
creates poor water pressure.
Because that's the one that was broke so many times too, that we had to hire somebody to come in to do.
We actually had to,
It was bad.
we actually had a situation there about 3 weeks ago where there was a valve on the property that belonged to the property owner that they would not repair. So we basically had to not worry about trying to get easements and go on and repair that valve because people had no water. And when you have no water, even though it's a private system, they look to the city.
Does the homeowner pay the bill or the individual?
The homeowner pays the bill.
Are we gonna meter it? Is that gonna be part of the program? Is to put
And it's
individual
actually
meters?
technically metered now as well as a master meter, and don't ask me why it was set up that way, because that was long before I was in this world. But part of the rehab would be to not only install new lines, but to install new meters. And go from the meter to the house, because.
So individual meters.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct. But there are individual meters there now.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only way we know what we're losing is because of the master meter too.
Right.
So are any of the mobile homes, not up to standard? I mean, would it be something that they could look at as far as rehabilitation there?
We can, but I think you're gonna be spreading the butter thin based on the amount that we have the potential to get and what rehab projects for water and sewer are costing right now. So we got a quote to run 90 feet of new water line and put a new hydrant in an area of our city, and it was $165,000 to run 90 feet of water line.
So is that where Miss Scott and the Hitchcocks
600,000?
in Miss Walden's district? Okay. Have we even considered, that's the
I don't think we
$165?
can spend $165,000
I just thought
for
about,
basically 6
okay.
houses is what it boils down to.
Yeah. I never did get a chance to say anything to you about that, Miss Walden, but I will about Miss Scott.
But we can look at that. I mean, if the general consensus is to be okay with that area, we can look at water rehab and potential housing rehab as well, but we can also look at housing rehab, which obviously creates a whole different kind of application, but we can look at that in Dalton Lee's district as well.
Because they might be able to level that with some CHIP funds as well. And then sometimes when you have those multifaceted projects, you can get up to $800,000.
So when you're talking about those CHIPS funding, and so we're going to be CBDG, be able to apply this time around, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what this is for.
That's what this is for.
Okay.
Are we eligible for CHIP funds inside the city limits?
Used to be. I don't know about now. They used to be.
Yeah. Yes, we are.
I know the city participated in the CHIP program at one
Right,
point in
we
time,
did.
but I
They
think-
had
I
it
think
at
that
one
is-
time.
I think that is no longer, but
I thought it had
I would have
pretty
to have-
much washed up.
Yeah.
but-
Yeah.
Bourbon could speak to that better than I could, because I was prior to my time working with the city, but
But we did at one time.
At one time, I know y'all
Yeah,
did
we-
because
I
I
don't
was.
know what type of funding they have now for that
Yeah,
program.
I thought it had dried up, but
Well, the county
The
is a
county
CHIP
is-
is a CHIP
yeah.
program participant and a GIC program fellow. Because I know that they launched their Baldwin Chip program just a few months ago. I helped out with that.
Yeah, and the regional commission did the work for them to apply, did the application for them to apply for the CHIP grant. And then there are other cities that apply for it.
I just thought I remember Barry saying several years ago that it pretty much had dried up, because I had asked him about it. Why was there not
Actually, the
anything?
first CHIP grant the regional commission has done, isn't it?
They did several and within that time frame.
Okay.
For
So
other-
when you all had CHIP, you just couldn't get anybody to qualify under your CHIP grant. That was the
That-
problem
I
with the
think
city.
that's what
way
our
back
problem
then.
was.
I
that
remember that.
we had a difficult time qualifying people under the CHIP grant.
Okay, let me make sure I'm at the right place. Was I asking the clerk to call the roll?
Ready? Mr. Chambers,
Aye.
Dr. Lee,
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds,
Aye.
Ms. Shinholster,
Aye.
Ms. Walden.
Aye.
All right, the resolution is adopted as official. We move to alcohol license approval. We have 1 new application and 10 renewals to consider tonight. So will you be adopting them a mass, or you gonna,
I need to
will you
do
be,
the new one.
or you just
Separate.
reading all the license out? You have 10 according to what you had on here.
I missed the question, though. What?
I was asking, was you gonna read all of them?
Oh, yes, ma'am. I think we did.
Do we have to do the renewal the new one separate?
Yeah, I believe that's the one we have to do.
We have to do that one
individually because it's
individually.
new.
Right.
And then the other ones can be
Others can be
together.
done.
Yeah,
And you can do the others in
That's
mass.
separated because it's new, and then the renewals all together.
Right,
So the first step would be just the
new one.
new one. Like, ready for me to present?
Please.
This is for Brigdell Doe on behalf of Family Dollar Stores of Georgia, LLC, doing business at Family Dollar Store number 20425, located at 641 South Wayne Street, and it is for beer and wine retail package to go.
All right, you have heard the application. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Mr. Chambers,
Aye.
Dr. Lee,
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds,
Aye.
Ms. Shinholster,
Aye.
Ms. Walden.
Aye.
All right, the application is approved. Next, we have the renewals. If there is no objection from council, I'll ask the clerk present the renewals together and that we adopt all that were presented with 1 vote. Hearing no objections, I will ask the clerk to present the alcohol license renewals that have been inspected and are ready for approval at this time.
Golden Pantry Food Stores Incorporated, doing business as Golden Pantry Store number 96, 204 East Hancock Street, for beer and wine package to go. Jet Food Stores of Georgia Incorporated, doing business as Jet Food Store number 29, 301 East Hancock Street, for beer and wine package to go. Jet Food Stores of Georgia Incorporated, doing business as Jet Food Store number 59, 111 South Wayne Street, for beer package to go. Ruby Tuesday Operations LLC, doing business as Ruby Tuesdays Incorporated, 2440 North Columbia Street, for beer, wine, liquor, Sunday sales, consumption on premises. Jet Food Stores of Georgia Incorporated, doing business as Jet Food Store number 61, 1740 North Columbia Street, for beer and wine package to go. Stugart Light Blue LLC, doing business as the local Yokel Cafe, 117 West Hancock Street, for beer and wine, Sunday sales and catering, consumption on premises. CGDG LLC, doing business as Bollywood Tacos, 107 East Hancock Street, for beer, wine, liquor, Sunday sales and catering, consumption on premises. Amigos at Baldwin LLC, doing business as El Amigo Mexican Restaurant, 2465 North Columbia Street, for beer, wine, liquor, Sunday sales, consumption on premises. Jalisco Mexican Grill number 2, IN Incorporated, I guess that is,
Probably
2400 North Columbia Street, A11 for beer, wine, liquor sales, liquor and Sunday consumption package to go. Columbia Pub Incorporated, doing business as Columbia Pub, 2485 Columbia Street, for beer, wine, liquor, Sunday sales, consumption on premises.
All right, you all heard the list. Is there a motion to adopt in mass?
Let me make one
Yeah, there's a-
comment to Mr. Denouzer. You may want to check the address on Jet Food Store number 59. I think that's probably going to be 1111 Wayne Street South.
I'm sorry, what would be?
I think it's going to be 1111 South
11,
Wayne Street as
okay.
opposed to 111.
Oh, yeah.
Just check with Shay on that.
Also on Jalisco Mexican Grill. I'm not sure exactly if that's a storefront, but it says package to go. Is that a restaurant or is it a?
It is a restaurant in
That's
the
a
mall.
restaurant. That's
Looks
the
like
one
it
at the
So it
mall.
could be, it should be
consumption on premises. Yeah.
Just a mistype.
Motion that we approve with the noted changes.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Chambers,
Aye.
Dr. Lee, Mr. Reynolds,
Aye.
Ms. Shinholster,
Aye.
Ms. Walden.
Aye.
Tonight, I'm reappointing Randy Clark as the resident board member on the Milledgeville Housing Authority. All right, this concludes the items on tonight's agenda. Are there any comments or questions from council?
Wish everyone a very happy Thanksgiving and safe travels if you're going to be on the road.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
Did y'all? All right, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
November 22nd, 2022 council meeting is adjourned.
Yes, it is.